Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third and final adventure of the evening, DnDTime Worlds. A show where Pete and Twitch chat, homebrew. Worlds together. No, our third and final adventure, it's called DnDTime Worlds. And before we get into it, as always, we are going to meet our characters. And to begin with, we have a character you may already know very well, as with all of our missed here adventures here. We have Euchaunkas Ouwoupli returning once more. Euchaunkas, how are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm doing well. It feels like it's been a while since you and I have talked.
It has, Sim.
How have you been?
Oh, I've just been, going down to Central City, getting rats on a stick, talking to Morts, eating Morts, and back alleys. A lot of Morts.
There are...
Disguised as a Mort.
Did the Morts ever look at you strange when you're devouring whole rats while disguised as a Mort?
Yes.
Do you have like any excuse? Do you make an excuse for it, or do you just kind of let it hang?
No, I eat them.
Oh, okay.
I just turn on the one that's looking at me strange. Devour him.
That makes a lot of sense. I imagine you can close up a lot of loose ends that way.
Yes. I don't leave any loose ends.
Well, it'll be good to have you outside of Central City for a little while and out in the world a bit more.
Yeah, I don't get to do that too much, so... Yeah.
Well, welcome back, Euchaunkas. It's good to see you once more. And next up, we have returning Ideal, Lord of the Gilded Rose. Ideal, how are you today?
I'm doing quite well.
Ideal, but before we get too much further, how are you dressing today, just out of curiosity?
I'm in business attire.
Business attire, of course. And Ideal, how have you been? Anything new? I know there was some recent new business that's been headed your way as a result of that treaty.
Yes, quite a bit of new business. I mean, can't get into the specifics right now, but...
Of course. But things are looking good, I assume.
Yes, they're looking quite well for the Gilded Rose and whatnot.
And how are you doing? How is just Ideal?
Oh, I can't complain, and if someone does manage to annoy me, I have a secret or two of them to get them in line.
I have no doubt that is true. Welcome back, Ideal. As always, it is a joy to have you. And next up here, we have Nijel Astrada. Nijel, how are you today?
I am doing well, Pete.
And Nijel, how goes your campaign? What's new on the front?
I do hear things are going quite well on the front, though I've been having to deal with a few more issues away from the front.
What has been occupying your time of late, Nijel?
It still seems that many of the nobles from what was once that other kingdom still aren't quite understanding their new position.
Yes. That can be tough when, things change hands unexpectedly. There are always going to be a few people bitter about it. Have they been causing many problems in your new home?
Not too much, but it's still tiresome, to say the least, putting them in that place. I've been working on building up a new bit of nobility that has a bit better of a understanding of what it means to be useful, but still it seems the old guard are trying to keep what power they have.
That is, so often the case. But Nijel, I know you have your hands full at the moment, but don't overexert yourself. You don't want to. How can one rule an empire if they're not healthy and well rested and just in the right mindset for it?
True enough, I do suppose, because that paladin divine health will serve me better than I had expected.
Yes, I do forget that you have that unnatural vitality that comes with being a paladin. But Nijel, it only goes so far. Do take care of yourself.
Of course. He's
And of course, last but not least, we have Sword Coheir joining us as well tonight. Hello, Sword.
Hello.
How's things in, well, the life of Sword Coheir? Anything new? Have you had any, luck or success in trying to track down your brother since that last happening at the at your hometown?
Unfortunately, no, but he's always been good at hiding. That's not the only thing he's actually been good at. And frankly, after last week's that whole truce thing with the celestial and demonic realm, I just kind of passed me by without even thinking.
Yes, I know there's always a lot kind of engaging your time, especially as a member of Bartholomew's adventuring troupe. Bartholomew keeps everyone very busy, but yes, you do have to, of course, remember to go about your own personal business from time to time, Sword. But you seem like you're always, you seem like you engage very heavily with Bartholomew's adventuring troupe, always kind of looking for a new job, Sword. Do you enjoy the adventuring work? Is it just because it's a good way to keep your home safe, or do you find that you actually like the adventurer lifestyle, Sword?
I do have to preoccupy myself somehow. I mean, if I
Yes.
being excommunicated is just one of those things, but it also gives me a lot of opportunity to explore new regions of the land and find more alchemy ingredients, which, granted, I have kind of put off lately.
Well, today, perhaps not so much on the alchemy side, but in terms of exploring new regions, that may be an option for you today, Sword, as Bartholomew has sent you somewhere that none of you have ever heard of before, which is very surprising. And as he gathers you all in the shop, he speaks in kind of relatively hushed tones, and he says to all of you, greetings, all of you. I have a particularly sensitive mission for all of you today. I would, before we proceed any further, I would just like a brief oath of discretion on this matter. If you could all agree, of course, I will then brief you. If you choose not to accept, we can work something out. But if you do choose to take this mission, I will need vows of silence from each of you. Is that fair?
All right.
You want us to sign an NDA?
A simple handshake would suffice.
An NDA handshake.
More or less.
Fine.
Bartholomew goes out and shakes yours and Sword's hands. Nijel, Ideal, two perhaps slightly cagier. Bartholomew looks at both of you, asking kind of inquisitively if you'll agree.
I suppose I have no bonds.
Yes, very good. He takes each of your hands, and as he does, there's just kind of a little touch of magic that seems to accompany it, binding whatever pact he has now set with you. And he goes, today we're going to be talking about DnDTime worlds.
I raise my hand.
Yes.
What happens if we break the pact?
Euchaunkas. That would be unwise.
I imagine it would. That's why I want to know what happens.
Oh, I don't want to tell you.
Is the pact undone if you die?
Is the what done?
Is the pact itself undone if you die?
That's actually very relevant information.
Oh no, absolutely not. The pact is well, if you die a permanent death.
No, then, I meant if you die. What happens if
I
you die?
I don't. No, it should be strong enough. I think that was enough for it to hold.
Gonna hate remembering this.
It might be gone, loosened at least. Who could say?
Look, Bartholomew, it would really help me out if you
with others who already know the information. Is what you're saying?
No, wait, I didn't quite hear that. I didn't hear that. Can you say it again? I do.
So what you're saying is we can only talk about this information around those who already know the information.
That is exactly correct. Around myself and each other once I have told you what is happening.
Look.
And presumably your assistant.
Oh, Roger, he's actually not in the privy on this one, so please keep the word low.
What does the bathroom have to do with anything?
I don't think that Roger... That's a very good joke, Euchaunkas, about privies, which...
What joke?
I don't believe you.
Bartholomew.
I don't believe that you don't know that word.
Bartholomew, come here. Just lean in real
He
quick.
leans in.
Look, Bartholomew. You can tell me what this pack does if I break it. It'd be really helpful. You can't understand why. I can't explain it to you.
All right.
It's too difficult.
All right. Bartholomew leans and goes, it would obliterate you.
See, that's need-to-know information.
Yeah. Well, it's very stressful having a pact like that for many people, so most people don't like to handle that kind of information. But yes, you would be obliterated into nothing. Anyway.
Would your magic still bring us back?
Oh, you were eavesdropping. This is like whispering, but with your ears. No, I'm saying your souls would be deleted from existence. You would have never been... Yes, that's all. You would have never been.
Huh.
So let's talk about DnDTime Worlds. How about that? It is something of a secret bureau and organization that in some places has chosen to alter and shape the very fabric of the land of DnDTime as we know it. They're very deep underground. They have an entire kind of laboratory down there, and they kind of sort of take some creatures and monsters and fit them a bit better into the land of DnDTime. In this particular instance, they needed help, some adventure advice, as they wanted to relocate a particular monster by the name of the Quaggoth. I don't know if you're familiar with Quaggoths. They're Underdark denizens. They might tell you more about them there. But yes, they are, of course, the Wondrous Organism relocation department suite would be DnDTime Worlds. And they will be...
I have a question about Worlds, based on your description.
Yes.
Are they responsible for the vine flares?
I don't know. That might have been a Plane of Dreams things. I cannot speak to... I don't know all of their dealings. You might ask them while you're there.
All right, I will.
But yes, they have made some strange things, I will say that. And, well, I guess they need help with their current project. So, shall you be off?
I don't think we have a choice.
I mean, you can not go and not learn anymore and then make it easier to hold up your NDA. I won't pay you, of course, but... All right. And he kind of...
Let's just be off.
Yeah, he goes over and walks and opens the door to the front door of the shop. He just kind of points out the door into kind of the woods surrounding the shop, and he goes, right under that rock there.
This one?
How did
Yes,
we not notice this?
And you have never noticed this rock. You've walked past it infinite times, but you never even realized that there was a rock there. And perhaps now, by being told about it, you finally, you remember passing by that rock a lot of times. And it's not even all that inconspicuous. You can see very clearly now that you're looking at some, hinges that are on the back of it.
I just thought it was a place he put things he didn't want us to know about.
I throw trash on that rock.
Yeah, there's a big pile of trash on it that you guys can see.
That's my trash rock.
I thought it was Bartholomew's trash rock.
No, I don't put trash on that. That's World's headquarters. I wouldn't throw trash at that. Euchaunkas does, because you didn't know it was World's headquarters.
I just thought it was a rock. A trash rock.
No, just a secret base entrance.
Weird.
That's super weird.
What better place for a secret entrance than under a pile of trash? No one would think to look there.
That's also a very good point. Maybe you were sort of gaslighted into throwing trash on it to better cover up the sky.
Should I keep throwing trash on the rock?
I mean, it's up to you now. You'll have to make an informed decision. But for now, I do have things to do. Come back up when you're all done.
Hey, Bartholomew.
Yes.
If you died,
yes.
Would this still be here? This whole Worlds thing?
Worlds? Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Good to know.
Good to know.
All right, and he closes the door. And you guys are just outside of Bartholomew's shop. It's a nice day. The birds chirp, bees buzz, and there's a rock covered in trash.
I suppose we open the rock?
All right, you go over and you lift it up, and yeah, it's exceedingly light. Euchaunkas, you've thrown trash on it, you sat on it, you guys have all seen it. You definitely interact with it. It's very clearly like styrofoam now that you're touching it. And as you lift it up, there's a metal hatch that seems to, it has one of the wheel openers, if you know what I'm describing. The turning wheels that opens the metal hatch.
Vault door lock or something.
Yeah, exactly. And you are able to turn it, you open it up, and then you can see there's just a stark metal shaft leading directly downwards into wherever it is that it goes. There are
whatever world's headquarters is.
Yep. There are lights and kind of like blinking and flashing points on it that are, lighting the way downwards. Do you guys want to proceed? Anything you want to do before you go down?
Who wants to go first?
Sure.
Well, my gloves are on fire and emit light, so I guess I'd be the ideal one. No pun intended.
All right. I just said that in Bartholomew's voice. All right. So Sword, you're gonna hop down and you begin hand over handing down the ladder. The rest of you kind of following in turn, and it is a long journey downwards. You are climbing down this ladder in total for about half an hour until you eventually kind of come down to a platform. You think that just in raw climb, you maybe have gone like a vertical mile downwards. You're not like feeling any shifts in pressure or anything, which is definitely strange. No kind of change in that regard. But yeah, you reach down to the bottom after an incredibly long downward climb, and you are standing in a very kind of just plain metal slate room. On the far side, there is a metal door with no windows and a speaker. You can recognize trigonometric handiwork over in the corner. A speaker kind of calls out to you guys. Hello there. Hello.
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 Hello, dwellers of the trash rock.
Yes, you are the adventurer monster experts that Bartholomew is going to be sending our way, yes?
Yes. We are all monster experts.
Lovely. We were very, we're very anxious to hear your input. We're working on some very exciting stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just going ahead through. I trust by the fact that if you could all just hold up your hands very quickly, I just want to make sure. Good, that's the NDA. And because the door, you hear it kind of click and open up. And welcome to DnDTime W.O.R.L.D.S headquarters. Please come in.
Great. Hey, speaker. Do you know if I don't know? There's like a contingency to this NDA. Like, let's say an apocalyptic event happened. Could I be released from the NDA in that case?
I would assume not, unless Bartholomew made a mistake in the wording of it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Is there a way we can view the wording of it?
It was probably in. Can you read Bartholomew's mind?
Can you?
No.
Like maybe.
All right. Well, then that might be a way.
What happened if Bartholomew died? Like,
why don't you come in and then we can talk face to face?
Yeah. What would? Okay. I thought this was your face.
Nope. I'm not a.
You're really hung up about this NDA.
I'm not.
We need to know the facts.
Look, Sword. You don't understand the stress I'm under.
You're implying you're going to outlive Bartholomew.
Looking at you, Sword, you might soon understand the stress I'm under.
Well, Bartholomew is an old man. He's bound to die before us. He may be a great wizard, but he's not that great.
Ideal. You might get it soon, too.
All right, the door clicks open, and you guys all kind of step forward. And on the other side, you can see dressed in very very nice robes, very formally done. Everything is very sleek, grayish blue, and you walk into what is a very huge space, and in this space there are hundreds upon hundreds of people working, kind of in small compartments. You hear kind of like an array of arcane equipment that seems to be kind of magically going about, various flashing lights, buzzing sensors and nods, and you can also see in like glass cases a whole bunch of very strange looking creatures. As you move into a very strange place. And this person, presumably the other side of the voice, this elven man, speaks up to you. Yes, hello. Please, step forward and welcome to DnDTime Worlds. Right this. Please step lively. I'll give you a quick tour before we get into things.
Okay.
I imagine you have a lot of questions. I'll try and answer them all
I do.
preemptively.
No.
Yes, we'll get
What's
back
the
to
word
NDA.
privy?
Privy, it refers to a bathroom, I believe.
Okay, that's what I thought, but Bartholomew used it in a weird way.
Also, it has another meaning in the sense of being aware of something.
Oh. What does that have to do with bathroom?
Euchaunkas, don't tell me you've never been on the bathroom using the toilet and suddenly come to a great understanding of the world without.
I don't go into the bathroom very often.
Yes, well,
You know how they scribble things on the wall.
Yeah, I've seen
That's how
that in
people are
bathrooms in Central
That's
City.
how people are privy to the things going on. People communicate.
I
Maybe
see a
that's
lot
why
of
you're so out
call,
of it, Euchaunkas.
go to this address for like a good more time.
well, regardless of the etymology of the word privy, you are now all in it with regards to DnDTime Worlds. You see, we are an organization that is dedicated to giving monsters a better shot in the land. A lot of them have very, what we might call dry stories. Some of them not very interesting. In the case of the one we're working with today, for example, the Quaggoth. I absolutely despise the Quaggoth. They are just kind of subservient creatures that work under the drow or whatever. It's very uninteresting, I would say. Additionally, it's kind of sad, and also it's kind of the elven people's fault, so I have a personal responsibility in this. So we're going to reintroduce the Quaggoth and give them a new home in DnDTime. And we
Roll it back.
Before we get into that,
Yes.
I have a very important question. Are you responsible for the vine flayers?
The vine flares. I don't. Are those mind flayers of some kind?
They're like mind flayers, except they're made of red vine.
Yes, that sounds like a candy. You might have to talk to our Candy Kingdom branch. I don't particularly work there. I know they've designed a number of delightful creatures, though.
I
Do
will
give
have to
them
visit
my
them in the future.
Yes,
Now-
outside of my particular department, but this is the Wondrous Organism Relocation Department suite. There is a suite of departments. You might comfort with one of the others. I'm dedicated to Quaggoths at the moment.
Now you say the Quaggoths are the elves' fault?
Yes, that is the case. The Quaggoths and the elves, there's a whole ancient war. Again, it's not really worth getting into. I'm not just deflecting.
I'm
I'm deflecting a bit. I might be
you're
deflecting
an
a
elf.
bit.
Are you saying that you're an elf?
Oh, he's an elf. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because that wasn't clear before.
But we're going to make up for it all now, so it should be fine. We're going to give the Quaggoths a much happier home here in the land of DnDTime, as we've done for many creatures. So, come with me right this way. And yeah, he's been walking you through, and like I said, you see tons and tons of different things all around, like various creatures. You see trigonomes, you see what even looks like maybe a math goblin or two working in here. You can see elves, creatures of all different races and creeds all working, and like experimenting on creatures. Some of them are like building what looks like terrains and landscapes and stuff. And you eventually you arrive in kind of a small cubicle where he opens the door, and he moves into a control panel area, and behind a bit of glass, there you can see what is presumably a Quaggoth. It is in just kind of a stark white room. You have glass, which you are told this is a two-way mirror. We can see the creature within, but the creature cannot see us. And then there's a big control panel in front of it. And he goes over and looks at you all. So, we are about to get to work now on the Quaggoth, and I have a lot of questions for you as people have interacted more and battled, I imagine, a lot of the creatures around the lands of DnDTime, and we'll just have to decide where we think this creature is appropriate and where we think it might fit in.
All right.
But if you have any more questions first, now would be the time.
So are you just going to drop them in as is, or are you going to try and improve them first?
No, we're going to improve them. We'll decide where we think they might want to go. We'll come up with we'll adapt them to the environment that they would be moving into. Currently, as you can see, they are blind. You can see that the Quaggoth, to describe it briefly, it's gorilla-like, but a little bit taller, a little bit more humanoid, with a very kind of pointed face with fur, a very pale green fur growing off of it in all places, a very sharp claws. It looks savage, it looks near feral, and its eyes are kind of like very glossed over, like it might not be able to, definitely equipped for dark places. And it says, as I mentioned, the elves and the Quaggoth, at one time, they were sentient beings with their own language and culture. But we warred with them for the time, us the elves, and they were forced underground, where they became servants of the drow there. So we're going to hopefully remedy that. As I said, it's a sad, sad story Quaggoth is through.
What about the swamp?
You think the swamp might be a good spot? I assume you're referring to the Baradak.
Well, there's two swamps, but yes, the Baradak would definitely be one place.
Yes.
How do they taste?
We can provide one for you, if that's something that you'd be interested in. We have a number.
I would like to taste it.
Yes, we can do that. And he kind of goes over to a microphone and speaks into it very briefly. Yes, we are going to need a taste on one of those Quaggoths, a taste test. Yes, you heard me correctly. Taste test. I don't know, it appears to be important to their process. We have a ton of them. All right. Yes, that'll just be a moment. And he comes back. We'll have that for you in the meanwhile. But yes, what are your first thoughts? As I mentioned, again, a creature enslaved by the drow. Currently it enjoys the darkness, but we can change that. It also gets very, when it's wounded, it goes into an incredible battle frenzy. But we might want to, come back to that. Location is a great place to start. Also, do you think these creatures should remain predators?
I
need to taste them first.
I definitely think they should remain predators of some sort. I mean, they wouldn't be Quaggoths if they weren't predatory.
Yes.
It might be beneficial too if we send them to a swamp because there are a myriad of other things like gators and.
There certainly would be a number of things that they'd be able to eat there. Yes,
they look well equipped for climbing, so like the W.O.R.L.D.S might be good for them. But again, taste is important.
Yes, well, that should be arriving any moment now, but I'm starting to get a sense of what you think. It looks like you're thinking that they might be well suited to a swamp, or perhaps a more jungular environment. Somewhere
they were once sentient, yes?
They were once sentient. We could return them to sentience once more. Develop for them a culture, even.
Well, if
Is
they're
there
clever...
some sort of cross between a jungle and a forest within the lands of DnDTime?
That would probably be the Wilderwood, yes?
We could dump them in the Trash Kingdom. I'm sure there's enough things there that if they're clever and worth their predatory prowess to be able to exist.
The Trash Kingdom would be interesting. I imagine it would be something of a war unless we altered their fundamental alignment, which is to say they are currently what we describe as chaotic neutral. which would make them a very volatile element to put into any environment, especially one that is a bit more civilized like the Trash Kingdom. But we could work with that.
Can you make them persuadable, easy to manipulate?
Very manipulative. What advantage do you think that would have for them?
Oh, I don't know. Loyalty always have just hear me out.
Here's your. It's arriving right now. As you're saying that. I'm sorry, I was getting distracted. Yes, so manipulatability. We could probably include that if that was something you're interested in. And you watch is walking in now. There is a chef, and they walk in. It's cooked. And they have just like a big slice of Quaggoth meat that seems to be very well prepared. There's also just a couple of things on the side. There looks to be some like mushrooms and a couple of sauces, but they weren't directly applied because they didn't know how the best way to eat it was. But they did cook it, unfortunately.
All right, I'll eat this. I eat it.
All right. It does not taste good. It's extremely gamey.
Well, I mean, that might not be a
Is that Euchaunkas's, like, I would say things that it would taste like, maybe like eating, like a wolf or something like that. It's definitely not like, it's not like just the sheer joy of devouring, say, a cow. But
cow is pretty good.
Cow is just a nice, easy one.
Anywho,
All right. There.
If we do go the route with the Trash Kingdom, it might be pertinent to turn them into scavengers rather than predators.
Right.
Keep them from going after the civilized folk in the area.
Do they
building on that idea of them being extremely easy to convince and manipulate, we could implement that along with making them a bit more prone to those violent outbursts you mentioned, and simply incorporate them in Central City and perhaps a few other places as perhaps a mercantile force.
Yeah, we could turn them into mercenaries, but hear me out. What is your name?
My name?
Yeah.
It is Farron.
Farron. Okay, Farron. You know, what these Quaggoths need, clearly, they need saving. And who better to save them than a high priest? Of
religious affiliation is not generally something that we do. Normally we would give sentience, and then
increased manipulability, but like increased loyalty to the first person that manipulates them. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily see that as a beneficial trait unless they are in an extremely harsh and lawful environment, which I suppose the Trash Kingdom is. Is that something that you'd like to
I was talking like Will-to-Woad.
Well, let's start off by settling that. Where do you think would be the best place for these creatures? Why don't you all vote?
I think we know my vote.
You want to go to the Will-to-Woad, obviously.
Made a very good argument for the Will-to-Woad as well.
Are you all in agreement on sending them to the Will-to-Woad? Ideal, Sword, what are your thoughts?
The Will-to-Woad seems more ideal, considering the texture of the fur and...
Yes,
definitely.
I have to agree, though.
Natural
seems to be the best place for them, considering their appearance and their tendencies. I mean, even giving them sentience wouldn't necessarily make them more likely to agree with the inhabitants of the more civilized areas of the land of DnDTime.
This is, I think, a wise choice. So let's start there. We can give them a bit of sentience. We won't give them sentience here. We'll start off by adapting a bit more physically to that environment. So to begin with, and he kind of presses a few buttons, and you watch as the simple stark chamber expands, and all of a sudden it stretches out very large, and a thick layer of vine and scrubs begin to grow up on the bottom of it, and then you watch as just suddenly a whole bunch of trees just pop up, and there's a very small simulated Will-to-Woad that this creature is now in, and it seems very confused and disheveled as it's looking around, trying to kind of figure out what's happening with it, and the person continues. All right, so we've decided on the Will-to-Woad. Now how do you think it would be better adapted to this environment? Does it need the dark vision, would you say? Or is the Will-O-Wold light enough, in your experiences?
The Will-O-Wold has a thick canopy, so it needs to see better than it can. But dark vision, even as a sub-sense, would be useful in the Will-O-Wold.
Perhaps we'll turn it down. It's not quite as extreme as the Underdark, but it would be advantageous for the creature, and we don't want them to also be hurt by the sun in any way. Is that fair to say? Especially if they're going to be climbing on canopies, which is something I think you implied earlier.
That is definitely fair.
Very good. And he goes over and he just hits a couple of dials, and he watches the kind of glossy eyes of the creature grow just a little bit brighter, as the dark vision on the creature has been reduced to a more reasonable level, and they're not as sunlight sensitive.
And I see on this pamphlet about my meal that they're immune to poison.
Yes, the Quaggoths are, in fact, immune to poison.
Why did he hand me a pamphlet with the Quaggoth that I ate's name on it?
Would all of you like to? Would all of you like to look over the Quaggoths pamphlet? Here's a little bit of information, baseline information.
I think
that's just a picture of it.
Oh, well, that's what it looks like, at least. Never mind, I thought it would show you all of its stats.
Well, I imagine that being immune to poison is definitely advantageous to them, especially in the Will-O-Wold. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of grung.
Yes, all sorts of strange creatures, especially the grung. I mean, I imagine they might use the grung as a sort of food source, given the size of the grung in the.
I mean, if they don't have the poison immunity, they will quickly go from one slaver to another.
That is also true. I mean,
that is a very good point. So we will maintain that. Makes it actually much easier for us to not have to change that particular aspect. So what else? They do have some natural predilection towards the ability to climb, but is that something that we should enhance? Do you think they would be better as faster, stronger?
Yes.
How strong do you think we should make them? I don't know what types of creatures and monsters you might encounter in the Will-O-Wold. Do you think that you need an immense amount of strength?
Well, there's grung, there's veggie pygmies, there's spiders, there's big spiders, there's a lich that likes to play card games, there's weird giraffes.
And as you're saying that, he's just kind of like turning up a knob with each like additional thing, and you watch as like the musculature on this creature is just expanding and growing larger and larger.
If you bring a table into the Will-O-Wold, it comes to the
I've turned their strength up to 22. We use a metric with regards to numbers to put it into perspective, and the average human is about 10.
I mean, we don't want to make them too strong, otherwise we can't make them smarter later on.
I think it's fine.
Oh, we can add everything if you want. There's no limits. There's not like a certain number of points.
Let's not get carried away now.
I mean, like, how strong would you say they were before?
But
they were about a 17. I've bumped them up 5 points.
That seems
aren't they
reasonable.
fairly strong already, though?
They do have a very strong musculature. Do you think it might be safer to bring them down? I don't want them to be an invasive species in the Will-O-Wold and take it over. Do you think they'd be more comfortable around?
Well, couldn't we turn down their?
If we do, maybe we should. If we keep them at that, maybe we should make them like adjust their behavior. Well, they kind of stick to their territory rather than go any.
I guess very territorial. We could add that to their culture. There's a number of aspects here of culture that we'll also begin to employ.
Perhaps,
but at least that way, if they do maintain the high strength, you know, they won't be invading other territories as often or as much.
All right, that actually makes a good deal of sense. I'll begin writing it into the culture code.
With the strength and the predisposition to be taught and convinced.
Who would say there is the strongest here? Say they're amongst us.
Regard. Clearly, I imagine I would be about 18 on this scale.
So they'd be a little bit more powerful than, say, Nijel it was, yes?
Indeed.
They'd be a little bit more powerful than Nijel, which makes sense as a large... We could also scale them up in size. Currently, they're on the high side of what we would categorize as medium, but we could put them up to a large to better accompany and suit that strength.
Perhaps we
I
should
have a
have
quick
them with the
question
potential
here.
to have
Yes.
an
Before we
alpha
do
form.
anything else.
Oh, please.
Aren't we supposed... Wasn't the idea to make them more civilized, not make them more monstrous?
Oh, we were going to build their entire culture further down the road. We just want them to be effective in their environment to begin with.
Effective in
Okay,
that
but we
environment.
don't want them to be too effective, otherwise
Yes.
they just might take
Right.
completely.
So maybe we tamp down, I don't know, their aggression towards certain races, like ooh, what lives in the Wilderwood a lot? Lizard folk? Yeah, that seems like a good one. There's a lot of them in there.
I'm just saying that perhaps their strength and size might be enough
Can
as
we-
it is.
Can we
may
tamp?
not need to change those.
All right.
I
Well,
don't
how
know,
about
I
we
think-
put it down to a nice 20?
Let's
20 seems good.
Right.
So they're going to rest.
Average for them, or
That will be just sort of, yes, your run-of-the-mill Quaggoth would be around there. And we won't scale up their size. The full will just bump them into the lower end of large, but certainly not huge or gargantuan or anything like that.
Truth be told, if they get too large, it'd be hard for them to move around the jungle and
That is very
fauna.
true. Very true.
yes,
Good point.
I think instead let's dial down their strength and increase their dexterity instead. I mean,
I
So
think
they
we should keep their strength at 20 and just bump up their dexterity.
That's
you do realize
reasonable.
there's a chance we might end up actually having to fight these.
I'm fine with that.
What, you fear something with so little strength?
All right, so what I'm hearing is perhaps we keep them at their original 17, but give them an incredible focus and skill in terms of their dexterity.
No, I think
Yes.
we put them to the 20 strength and increase their dexterity.
All right,
I
20,
think
20,
keeping them at
20.
17 and increasing their
Whoa.
dexterity is
I don't know about the
Probably
dex
better.
at 20, but perhaps
20,
like a
17.
like a 16 in the dex.
And he goes, all right, we'll circle back. It seems we have a lot of varied opinions here. What about their more mental capability?
What is their current mental capabilities like?
I would put their intelligence around a 6, their wisdom at about a 12, and their charisma at about 7.
Yeah, bump that into like I don't know, 2 points, 3 points.
A 9, you
Perhaps.
think, just on the just a bit dumb?
Just
like
a
tiny
bit dumb.
I think
Just a tiny bit
9
dumb.
would be fine. I mean,
We don't want to go higher with that?
No,
Well,
no, I think we want them a bit dumb.
Because it gives us
well,
access
but
to
I
more
think 9 is
cultural...
high- I think 9 is high enough for them to create their own culture and.
Yes, it just gives more intricacy to culture. It can often come. If we were to increase
Well, I
their
mean,
intellect higher...
If we make them any smarter than that, we'll definitely have to decrease some of their more physical attack.
Perhaps
Yes, I
we
suppose...
could leave them rather dull, but have
I mean-
seers, alphas, perhaps a
But no-
sub-race born among them to lead them.
Perhaps we can come back to that when we try out an alpha. I understand what you're getting at. Before we
Yeah.
do that, let's also discuss their sensory capability.
Well, you did say they were excellent at hearing.
Well, they have very strong vision at the moment, actually. Their ability to see in the dark is impeccable. We don't have a particularly strong hearing for them, but that is something that... do you think that would be a useful skill in the Wilderwood?
Probably not. It would actually possibly. The Wilderwood is a very noisy place.
Yeah, all the birds and such. They'd probably have sensory overload.
So do you think doubling
Sense
down
of
on the vision, sense of smell, that's interesting as well?
Yeah, since the smell might help them taste.
They might have a keen smell. All right. Yes, so you want us to alter them to improve their taste. We can do that as well.
I meant how they
It
do.
would help them identify.
No, I knew what you meant.
Want their taste. I want them to taste
No,
I
I
want them
100%
to
knew
be-
what you meant.
tastier.
No, I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
But I also
he's
think
working
they
over
should
on the
be able
controls.
to taste
Being able
things
to
better.
taste though might be beneficial still.
Why?
Because they
I
can
think everything
better
can
identify poisonous plants and stuff that they wouldn't normally be able to.
Well, they're
And
immune to
they're
poison.
already immune to poison.
Additionally, a well-developed palate will help
Well,
their
not
culture develop.
poisons, but I mean like just plants and stuff they can't normally.
I mean, look, if I had someone editing me, and they had the option to make it so I could taste better. I mean, like I had a better sense of taste.
That's a very good point. I'm putting that right in. They now have keen smell and taste. You have advantage on perception checks related to smell and to tasting.
So this pamphlet says they have a wisdom of 12.
That's right, a wisdom of 12. We might want to boost that. We boosted their
Bump that down a bit. Yep, I agree. Bump it down. Yeah.
You don't think they should be able to better take in their environment with their senses? We already gave them that keen sense of smell.
That's true. Maybe we should just keep it at a 12.
A 12? Do you feel like that's adequate, all of you?
Yes, I think that's adequate.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable.
And how likable do you think they should be? I feel like they've had a bad rap for a long time, and I feel like they deserve a boost. What are your thoughts?
Well,
Perhaps a 12.
I'd say keep them rather neutral.
Is that a 7? We might want to bump that up just a tad. I mean,
yeah, like a 9 or
they're
a 10.
terrifying enough in their appearance. We don't want them to be up.
All right, we'll give them a nice 10. We'll call it right in the middle. And as he bumps up to 10, you watch as like the whole time the Quaggoth's body is like keeps changing, and sort of like their patterns. Like as soon as he bumped up to a 9, they were kind of just like roaming around and looking confused. As soon as they got bumped up to a 9, you saw them like climb up and like tear some branches off trees and start like making a fire in the space. And like they're just now like kind of like sniffing the air, taking in smells, and they just get a little bit happier looking. They don't look as mean anymore as they get that increase in charisma. So now they're kind of roaming around. You got their base stats. What do you think they're good at? Any particular skills that might benefit them?
Well, they have claws, so...
It seems like their perception is something that you've identified as a boon for them.
They're probably decent at digging.
Digging and hunting.
Digging and hunting. Yes, climbing. We think they should be faster.
They just made them into bears.
I think they're fast enough as it is.
You think they're not too lumbering? They might be more benefited by able to...
I think they're... From what I can tell in this pamphlet, their speed is 30, their climb speed is 30. I think
we could bump it up to 40 each.
Where did you get a copy of that pamphlet? Good to see that you have it too. 40 each, I like it.
I don't know.
We should have them be a bit
know.
quicker
We don't want them to be too fast. I mean, I think 30 is a nice...
I don't know, 40
he kind of starts pumping them up to 40.
30 walk, 40 climb. How about that?
Why not just make it 50 then?
50 we can do as well. And the watches they before were just kind of like swinging around aimlessly, and now they're zipping through and like ripping branches off trees, and they're starting to build what looks like a little hut inside of the Wildwood here.
Now, can we increase their aggression towards certain creatures and decrease their aggression towards others?
We can blanket increase and decrease their aggression. It's hard. It's very hard to target. Maybe one.
Can we make them
enmity?
Can we make them angry at
tables?
I was gonna say
tables.
I mean, they have a pretty sizable empire. I mean,
look,
and they
you
really
don't.
Crazy.
You don't even know.
When
was the last time?
Strong and happy with elves.
Look, when was the last time you saw a table in the Wildwood?
But I feel like...
But they might make tables.
They shouldn't
do that quickly. Okay. He's already made the hut. He might make a table.
I heard that Tablos was eradicated and his followers gone.
Yeah, here's the thing. still, if you bring a table into the Will-O-World, it transforms. I don't know. I think that's just a property of the Will-O-World.
Oh, we could make it so he can eat wood.
I mean,
and you watch as the teeth on him just grow like even sharper and more almost like saws as they become razor-like.
That's neat.
That will also help them in making their tools and such, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, eating wood is great. How are they going to deal with the stone table?
Stone tables. Oh. And he gets a couple more buttons, and you watch as the incisors become like little steel drills.
I was thinking more of a claw adaptation than teeth adaptation.
The claws, we have a lot of room there, too. Should we make them big, extendy?
yeah.
Make it so they can crush rock.
We can absolutely do that. Jesus.
I would think they already could with that strength.
The claws become capable of crushing rock.
I have a question. What would you say if you could, according to this pamphlet you've given us, they have their base challenge rating is 2. What would their challenge rating be now, would you say?
And they're starting to look over. We don't actually have an accurate representation of that. If I were to ballpark it, I would say 4 or 5, maybe.
I think that's a good challenge rating for these creatures.
Seems quite reasonable.
I don't really understand
about
that
it,
metric, but
There's one thing that kind of concerns me now. Since we're putting him in a kind of forest, jungly biome, wouldn't we occasionally have to worry about green dragons trying to influence them?
They're immune to poison.
No,
be good
no,
against
no.
green
Influence them. They have the ability to take over the denizens of the forest.
there's not that many of them.
We can
Besides, I
Well,
imagine they're...
that's what the alphas. We'll
Exactly.
have the alphas deal with it.
Yes, so let's experiment with an alpha. What other capabilities would an alpha have? I assume they'd be stronger and things of that nature.
Yeah, what if the alpha to the Quaggoth was just lizard folk?
Well, then it wouldn't be a Quaggoth, would it?
That's true.
Shall I
suppose you're
apply basic alpha scaling on it?
That seems like a reasonable place to start.
And you watch as it grows, as it kind of like hits a couple buttons, it grows a little bit bigger, a little bit more muscular. And that's it. Basically, it grows bigger and more muscular. It doesn't seem to like get any smarter or anything. It just gains some what looks like strength and health, basically.
I think the alpha should be immune to charm.
Immune to the charm condition. Yeah, we can probably do that. Give them a little bit of fey blood is the trick. Yes, very good, very good.
Not the fear condition.
No, just the charmed, not the fear.
Just the charm.
And you hear the sounds of a clacking keyboard as he's typing in various things. Good. I think we're really getting somewhere with this creature. What about culturally? What do you think they act like?
Communal.
Shall we have them be arboreal?
Sure.
And as he's kind of like coding, it looks like he's coding the culture as he's typing very quickly. You see as their behavior is shifting with each thing that you kind of suggest, and it's now like moving the home that it was building for itself amidst the thicket on the ground. It's now like creating it up within the trees, and it looks very lonely and kind of isolated, very sad looking.
I
imagine
they make
communal
lots of tables.
So it is communal now. It's just by itself.
They make the tables so that way they can eat them.
Maybe.
And
cardinal sin, but sure.
It begins the construction of a table.
You know, they're chefs. Sorry.
It's working on a table. It looks like it's going to take it some time. It's not super smart.
I feel like maybe we shouldn't let them build tables.
Well, it's a simulation of the Will-O-World. It shouldn't actually come to life.
Look, I get it, but we don't... Okay, they're not the brightest, right? What if they build too many tables? Then we've got a bunch of tables running around.
I don't think tables can move. if they've been built. I mean, if a
Oh,
table starts moving
again.
around, it's not really a table anymore.
You haven't been in the Wilderwood recently, have you?
If a table is moving around, it's more like
I think we're getting lost in the weeds on this whole table thing. We'll say
Ideal.
maybe
It
eat tables.
shouldn't be a problem unless they find religion and start worshipping the table.
You know, perhaps having them be communal now, we should have them engage in asexual reproduction. That way, one,
Jesus.
if even one survives, they can build back up their community, and two, they'll never be alone, so they'll always have those buffs from communal society.
Let's see how they deal with cell division, like an ooze.
I feel like that
and-
one
and you
actually
wa-
not a great idea.
and you watch as the creature before you begins to expand, and it just kind of rips itself apart.
No.
And it kind of like bubbles out, and there's now just two of them in the space, and they seem much happier now. And it does it again as both of them divide, and now there are four of them in the space. And they go, oh, they're dividing much more quickly than I thought they would.
Right.
And
Turn it back.
they're
Can you
building
turn
a
that off?
community.
Yeah, let's
You
just turn
unfold-
I don't
that
think
bit
that's a
off.
good idea. I mean, now
Oh yes, of course. And he turns it off, and they stop dividing. But there's now four of them moving around in the room.
Okay, that's fine, I guess. But
They
We
seem much
definitely
happier. They're making a community.
I don't think we want the asexual reproduction.
no, that would.
Wait a second. That one was an alpha. The
They're all
other
alphas,
three
so
are
yeah.
alphas too. Won't this be a problem?
That's a good question.
We can fix them, make the other three non-alphas, can't we?
Are the other three alphas, or did the alpha split into non-alphas?
The other three are also alphas.
Why don't we make the alpha a type, like in the insect world, it's known as a queen. It's the only one that produces.
Yeah, I'm going to make this one female.
Yes.
Nice.
It acts sort of like a queen. It's the only one in the tribe that actually produces young. And
I don't know
every
about
once in a
that.
while-
I mean, they're not insects.
I know. I'm just saying it like an insect. It's the only one that.
A matriarch.
It's
And-
a matriarch. It's the one that provides the children of the tribe, and its children are mostly normal Quaggoths. Every
There are
once in a
some
while, it
small,
produces another alpha.
There were some small kind of stylistic changes as he begins making the Quaggoth female. Just a few kind of points where like fur coloration alters, but yeah, they're pretty much different. It's just now it's a matriarchal as he's coding that culture in.
I think the matriarchal bit is fine, but I think the other Quaggoths should be able to reproduce.
Well, how
Perhaps
about
it's
I will try and alter. Oh, that's strange. These summoned ones. I can't seem to change them. The system is only wired to the one. That's with it.
Okay.
That's okay. We'll
I'll have to use the
we'll
other
figure
ones.
something out with the other three.
We can use them as observations.
Yes.
Luckily, they were made after you made the alteration to make them tastier.
Not only that,
That's
but
true.
I imagine the other three are male. That's 3 male, 1 female. I mean,
Yes, that's correct.
Sooner or later they'll probably start fighting over the female.
Well, if she's the alpha, doesn't she sort of decide that?
Yes, but he can't alter them, so.
So what about this whole aggression thing? We were talking about maybe perhaps toning it down and making them a more peaceful culture.
Yes.
Well, not too peaceful, though.
Not too peaceful,
Before
no,
we
but
continue with that
just dial
thought,
it
though,
down, like, I don't know.
before we continue with that thought, change the alpha where she decides, the size and the scope of the tribe, when they should mate and such, so they don't get too big or too few.
Yes, that makes sense. Make sure that they're regulating. And he's kind of changing that up, and you watch as it kind of starts to shift. You watch as it starts to shift. The matriarchal one kind of begins to give instructions and start to like command and oversee the other three. But the other three don't really seem to be all that interested, and they're starting to get kind of frustrated with this one. And then you watch as all three of them begin to split apart and group into other ones.
Perhaps we should have an
And there are now 7 of them in the room.
Wait, how
Take care of those that are still
Because he doesn't seem to have control over the ones that were made by that.
We're going to have to kill those ones.
Can you?
And
Is there a way to clear the room? Yeah.
No, that shouldn't be much of a problem. And he kind of
before we should probably find a way to kill off the other ones before we do anything else, because it looks like they can just keep multiplying, like fill the room with water and would just start.
Can you simulate?
Should I make that one big one into some kind of like super predator that can just take them all out?
No. Just simulate. Make that one immune to the effects of lava, and then fill the room with water.
That's a very good idea. And I will get on that right now. And he goes and starts to press the button, but as he presses it, it gets stuck for a moment. And nothing seems to happen. He's like, that's strange. And he's kind of pressing it. And then all of a sudden, the lights in the facility just go down.
Well, we had to know this was coming.
And it's completely pitch black. And then from within that room, you hear a very large explosion. And then a bunch of voices beginning to call out. A bunch of voices beginning to kind of call out from inside. And those voices are all speaking kind of loudly over each other. All right, extract the subject now. And then another voice, we're not going to let this one get away. You're coming back to the Underdark with us. Emergency backlighting kicks on, and you see 4 drow women in there. One of them already has what looks like the matriarchal kind of alpha one in some kind of strange like dimensional shackles that are tied behind its back. The other Quaggoths are moving around in absolute are moving around in kind of like chaos, climbing up on trees currently and just watching, but getting ready to kind of get aggressive in this particular situation, it looks like, as they're seeing currently the leader that they didn't really respect or like is being taken down, but they're very kind of antsy here in the space, and power is, like I said, on emergency reserve lighting. These 4 drow are kind of like moving about and quickly trying to harness up this creature and get ready to take it out of the space. There's a huge hole blown in the back wall of this experimental chamber. You can hear people all throughout the complex that you're currently in, like shouting in absolute chaos as other things are happening here in DnDTime Worlds that are presumably also affecting like other experiments and stuff that are here. What do you all do? Well, for starters, I'd like you to roll for initiative.
One, two.
Well, I can see how our night's gonna turn out like.
Okay. Apparently, Ideal goes first.
And we're going to roll for the drow as well. But we're also going to roll for the Quaggoth Alpha. It's got a nice dex bonus. And then we're going to roll for our drow liberators.
Quote-unquote liberators.
Our drow, yeah. Reclaimers. All right. In this case, and the first to act in this instance is you, Ideal, with your critical success. So basically, all of the drow go, and then the Quaggoth, and then it goes back around to. Oh no, Ideal, you got a 12. Okay, so then all of the drow.
I got a 12 and a 21.
Oh, you have advantage, of course. Yes.
Because
in that case, yeah. So you are the first one to act. So what would you like to do?
Well, I imagine the drow are all grouped up right now, correct?
The drow are what?
All grouped up.
They're in like different places, kind of. There's groups of 2. You could get a group of 2, which is over near where the Quaggoth is.
I'm gonna teleport to the 2 who are holding the Quaggoth, the Alpha.
Okay, you're gonna just zip in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna use Thunderstep. And
okay, the room that you're in just explodes in a sudden vat of thunder, and you're now standing in the room with all of the Quaggoths and the drow all around you. It's dim light. What do you wish to do?
I mean,
they look up at you. Who are you?
I am ideal.
Fair enough.
You know, I'm having it like damage to on where I'm talking, not where I left.
Oh, you can do that. You can have it on the end or the beginning.
Yeah, I think. First, I thought it was just the end, but I think it's on either end.
Okay. Yeah, sure. In that case, as you come in, 2 of them are going to make Constitution saving throws, and that's going to be the commander and the warrior, who are trying to tie things up at the moment. And both of them are going to fail and take a sizable 32 points of lightning damage as it explodes. Also, our Quaggoth, whose Constitution was unadjusted, is going to take a 32 points of lightning damage as well. The Alpha kind of lets out a cry, cursing in the language that you haven't been hearing it really speak on the other side, but you now hear it kind of call out in Undercommon. I don't know if do any of you speak Undercommon?
No.
Let me check, actually. Nope, I do not.
Alright, it calls out, "Oh boy, Goro!" As it seems very upset. And that's all for your turn, I assume? Or do you have a bonus action?
Bonus action... nope. I'm not doing anything on my bonus action.
Alright, in that case, that's going to bring us next in initiative to... oh, it's all of the drow.
No, it's the Quaggoth turn.
Oh, you're right. The Quaggoth Alpha is going to... most of the Quaggoths are kind of looking down, still observing, and seeing how things go. The Quaggoth's going to go after... its arms are currently behind its back, tied up by whatever strange handcuffs that the drow put on. It's going to struggle and try and break out of those, which it fails to do. And then it is going to reach out with its bladed teeth, its saw-like teeth, and bite down on the nearest drow.
You mean it's Sawdrill teeth?
Yeah, the Sawdrill teeth. And as it bites down for 22 points of piercing damage, those teeth seem to sink in, and then it starts making this, like, thrashing motion with its face, as it looks like it's trying to actually just saw the arm, as it drags the teeth up and down the length of where it bit in. And that drow does not look very happy about that, as they take a nice 22 points of bludgeoning damage and are pretty beat up. They call out in incredible pain as we move next in initiative to now all the drow go. That drow is going to whip around and stab with a short sword, which pierces into the hide of the Quaggoth. You can see its armor is in particular tough. You hadn't adjusted that. And then it's going to take a big old chunk of piercing damage, but no poison damage, as it is immune to poison still. Then the other some of the other drow are going to act. This one's going to fire a crossbow at it. It's immune to poison, but it will take that 8 piercing damage. You see an arachnomancer is going to you see one of the drow on the far side of the room transforms and becomes an incredible spider. It is going to web at it, which hits, and the creature, you watch as the Quaggoth is now even more tied up inside of webbing. It's become restrained. And then the last drow is going to fire a crane crossbow as well, which is going to miss, unfortunately. And the creature takes a bunch of damage. They're not too focused on you at the moment ideal. They just want to get this thing restrained so they can get it out of here. Which brings us around to the rest of y'all. That's going to be first up sword, Coheir. It is absolute bedlam. What do you want to do?
First off, how do we get in the room? Is it just like
you have to go out and around, or you can break through the glass.
You
if
either
you
have to teleport or
teleport, break the glass, or leave and go around the outside, which would be like a turn to get there if you want to run in that way. What do you want to do, sword?
Okay, take a turn. Double dashing, I'm assuming, to get in there.
Yeah, so if you want to just get up into the room, you can do that. You'd have to go around.
I'm gonna take one turn. I'm just gonna go use my movement to go to the next room, but I will. In the meantime, I will summon my spirit guardian.
If you want to run all the way, you'd have to use an action.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to use my action to summon my spirit guardians and just move.
Oh, so you're not going to get all the way. Okay, I get you. So you're halfway there, and you have your spirit guardians ready. As we then move next in initiative to Nijel. What do you want to do, Nijel?
I was really hoping that thunder stuff was gonna bust the... Crap, I suppose all I can really do is just follow after sword. Seeing a bunch of drow pop out, and knowing drow be drow, I will also not do the full double dash as I pop my...
Protection from poison is a great idea in this particular instance. And that's all for your turn, I assume, as we move next to Euchaunkas?
Yes.
Euchaunkas, what do you want to do?
How far away are they?
On the inside?
Yes.
They're only like 30 feet away if you just smash through the glass.
Okay. Is it an action to smash through the glass?
Breaking the glass would not be an action, but you would take damage from it.
Yeah, screw it. I'm gonna jump through the glass.
Alright. You take 7 points of piercing damage as glass cuts you.
And walk a little bit more into the room.
That's the second time that's happened in one of my games today. That's funny.
Are they... So they're all about within 30 feet of me?
Oh, they're in a big old pile. There's 2 drow and the big Quaggoth right in the middle of the room.
And where are the other littler Quaggoths?
They're up in the trees watching at the moment.
But approximately how far from me are they?
They're about 50 feet up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a big will-to-will they made in here. And they're moving with an incredible agility as they swing from tree to tree.
Right, okay. Well, I'm gonna destructive wave. It'll hit all the drow.
Oh, Jesus. I'm assuming you're going to,
Yeah.
Do the
50
thing.
damage.
What's the total? Okay, total 50?
Yeah.
Gonna make Constitution saving throws. Does that hit the guys at the top? The ones up in the trees?
They're more than 30 feet away.
Okay, so it's only 30. Alright. 1. Wow. 2. 3. Oh!
Jeez.
Yeah, they're good at those. They got proficiency. And then...
Is that using the spider's con? Or did they use the spider's con? I don't know.
No, they're using, their con is the same. It's the same. So they just all have proficiency in con saves because they're drow and they're good at that. So 3 of them actually do manage to succeed and take half damage. The one that fails, the elite warrior, who's already taken a pretty sizable chunk because that was the one that got bit by the Quaggoth too, is obliterated in this wave of destruction that moves throughout the room. They just explode as it passes through them, and then the Quaggoth also has to roll for it.
Nope. It does not.
It doesn't?
Wait, what?
I choose my targets.
Oh, you don't want to hit the Quaggoth?
No.
Which means you can't hit me either, thankfully. Because I was
correct.
worried about that for a second.
All right. That's going to be all for your turn, Euchaunkas.
I can't bonus action spell, right?
That is... You can do like a low-level spell.
Like a level 2?
What level are you? What's the highest level spell you can cast? 5?
5.
You would only be able to do a level 1.
Then, actually, sure, why not?
Hey, you do a sanctuary. Could see a lot of those Quaggoths are starting to look at you up at the top in the trees, and then you cast your sanctuary on yourself, and they're all like, oh, whatever. That's going to then bring us to Ideal.
I forgot about this last turn, but I have eye for talent from my master's guys, so it apparently also affects with. So I'm just saying.
Okay. Just we're not gonna do it.
I'm just letting you know for.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah.
So it's your turn. What do you want to do?
Okay. I am going to summon a blight element.
Oh Jesus.
So, yeah.
So go ahead and get that blight elemental up.
Alright, well, charisma to try and control it.
You absolutely control it.
Alright,
and what do you want it to do? Who do you want it to blight?
I'm gonna ask it to. I think I'm gonna have it blight the drow.
Which drow do you want to hit? There's the 2 that are near it, and then there's like the 2 casters that are on the outside. Oh, sorry, there's 1 that's near it, as the other one got exploded by Destructive Wave. You want to go after that one or one of the casters?
One of the casters.
Alright, so you want to go after the one that's a big spider? The big spider one?
Yeah.
Alright. In that case, it's going to make a Constitution saving throw, which they're going to succeed. Again, do they take half damage on a success, or is this all or nothing?
Half on a successful.
Alright, they still take a huge amount of damage, and they are not looking too good either. They take a nice chunk. They still got a good amount of fight in them.
Yeah.
And is that all for your turn?
That's all.
All right, that's going to bring us on over to all of the... Or first, it's the Quaggoth who's going to continue to try and break out of restraints. Which... oh, no, still no... Not too hot, not too hot. And the Quaggoth continues to try and kind of rip and pull. It's as it does so, it completely tears off like the webbing that's surrounding it, but it is unable to get out of the handcuffs that are binding its hands, so it's still kind of stuck a bit. And then that's going to bring us to the priestesses. That first priestess is going to look at you. They're going to go after you, Euchaunkas, and they're going to cast Insect Plague on you. You should make me a con save.
Where is that? There it is.
You were going to take 24 points of piercing damage as just an incredible swarm of spiders begins to crawl up from the ground and surround and engulf you. And actually, this happens. This is one of those ones where it happens at the start of your turn. So at the start of your next turn, you'll take that damage. And that's all for that creature's turn. The Arachnomancer is going to zip around and look at you. Ideal, I think. And they are going to cast a spell at you. I need you to make me a Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw. Here we go.
As they are casting Dominate Monster on you. And you are now currently... you don't have advantage against charms or anything, do you?
No, I don't think my force of personality can do anything.
And they are now kind of speaking into your mind. And the word that you kind of hear them say is the words that you hear them say in your mind's ear are destroy the lizard folk. And we'll come to that later. And that's going to be all for that person's turn, and then the commander is going to take an attack at the Quaggoth as they continue to send out the crossbow. 10 points of piercing damage. The Quaggoth's starting to get a little bit beat up, and that's all for that guy's turn as we move next to Sword. What do you want to do, Sword?
Well, I'm going to enter the room finally, and then I'm going to bonus action Healing Word on the Quaggoth.
Oh shit! All right, you Healing Word the Quaggoth. For 5.
Yeah, 10.
Oh, 10, of course. I forgot about your ability. So
Like
it gains
the
10 points
maniac.
of health. You watch as some of the wounds begin to cure over. And then what else on your turn?
And then I'm going to try to use my... I know they're immune to charms, but is it possible I can use my animal handling to try to convince, or do I need to do a persuasion to do that? Because I don't speak
on specifically the Quaggoth.
the other Quaggoths.
Okay, so you go up to them, and what do you do? Like, describe your motion. It would probably be persuasion, as you made them sentient enough to understand, like, things like combat. And right now they're watching with kind of a disdain as their leader that they weren't too crazy about is being torn apart. But what do you do, Sword?
I tried to convince them that they will come after them if they're not stopped. They'll
Okay.
take the big one first, and then they'll go after the...
All right, so you're making some kind of like hand motions, like get into the fight. This is dangerous for you two. You're not really like, because you're just kind of like, you don't speak their language and it's hard to communicate with them. Go ahead and make me a persuasion check, but you'll have to be at disadvantage for it.
Of course.
6, yeah. They're up there in the trees, and they're kind of looking down at you. They just don't seem to quite get what you're trying to get across. They're paying attention to you now, so you have a more captive audience, maybe. But they're not really getting it. And that's
all I can really do.
Yeah, that's gonna bring us around to Nijel. Nijel, what do you want to do?
I use my movement to get in, and how far away would the drow be from me?
The drow, the closest one was the Arachnomancer, which is on the side of the room that you're on, and you could walk up to them if you want to.
Okay.
The other
How
one's all the way
many
across
of
the other
them
side.
would be on a 30-foot line from me?
You could get 2 in the Quaggoth.
Can I get 2 and ideal?
No.
Okay, then I will get the 2 and spare the Quaggoth. As I enter, I will survey everything I'm seeing. I will draw my blade as I kind of run it across my shield. Dispatch your mortality. As I will bonus action cast Wrathful Smite on my...
Ooh.
And then I shall activate my Boots of the Spearhead and spend my, crap, I can't think of it. Channel Divinity Guiding Strike, as I will do Divine Imperial March on those 2.
So many things you just said that I... Tell me what happens.
I need the 2 that are nearest to the Quaggoth that were on a 30-foot line for me to make a dex saving.
Alright, so that's going to be the Arachnomancer. It's taken quite a few hits now. They're going to make a dex save. Whoop. Which they... is it enough? Oh, wait, DC 26. Is that true?
Yes, it is. The way the item is, I get my DC as 8 plus my to hit bonus, so I can burn my Channel Divinity. That gives me a plus 10 to hit to give me a plus 10 to hit with this.
That is out of control. All right. That's wicked funny. All right. I just assumed that was a typo, but apparently it's 26 is the DC on that. So do they get pushed back?
They do not get pushed back. They, there was the one other drow that got hit by it also, right?
And that would be the elite warrior. So they're going to make a. I mean, they can't succeed.
Okay, fair enough. They take 11 plus 6 psychic plus. Ooh, that's bad. 5 radiant. So that's 22 points total, and they both have to give me a DC 15.
They both have to make wisdom saves. What's the wisdom save for? The Arachnomancer fails, and the commander. The commander's down.
The Arachnomancer is afraid of me.
I mean, that's fair. I think that was true regardless of whether or not they failed. The elite warrior's down. And the Arachnomancer is going to make a... oh my god, they break concentration on their dominate monster. Oh no!
Yay!
And they take a ton of damage, and you absolutely ruin house with this impossible combination of things.
And that's all I got this round.
All right, that's all for that. As we move next in initiative to
Me.
Euchaunkas, what do you want to do?
I walk outside of the insect plane.
All right, you take the damage at the start of your turn.
Yeah, and then I use my belt that I still have never used. Belt of body and soul to heal.
Oh, what does it do?
I get to spend hit dice, as many as I want.
So good.
So here we go.
Pretty good item, I would say.
So, yep, I would say so as well. Okay, 53.
But you go to full, right?
I'm gonna get there.
I mean, take your turn, and then you can just.
Yeah, I'm
flush
at
it
full.
out.
I'm at full.
Oh, is that your only thing?
No, I should probably do something else. I don't like this Arachnomancer. So, Punch a Cloud.
All right, Punchy Cloud it is. That's gonna hit for how much?
It's at level 4, so 15 force.
15 points of force damage. Woo! They take another 15, and yeah, now they're starting to look pretty beat up. Is there anything else on your turn, Euchaunkas?
I'm set.
Ideal. You are, for a brief moment, confused and controlled, and then it ends almost immediately.
Wait, how could they have a Dominate and Insect Plague up?
2 different casters.
Oh, okay.
The Insect Plague's still going, that one wasn't hit.
Who did that?
The Priestess of Wolf. Ideal. What do you want to do? Ideal, you there?
Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm no longer controlled.
You're no longer controlled. What's the play?
All right. I'm gonna hit one of the Elves of the King.
All right, you do so. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
All right.
19 is going. Are you going up to the one that's like still battling the Quaggoth?
Yeah.
You roll damage on that. That's gonna hit.
All right. And then I'm going to use Thirsting Blade to hit it again.
All right. As you strike it, that's also gonna hit. Nice rolls.
Yeah.
I'll roll damage on that. So 11 points of damage. You also come to know what armor class. Their armor class is 18. They don't have any resistances or vulnerabilities. What else?
see.
Their favorite color.
Favorite, favorite least and the least favorite color, snack, or activity.
Which one do you want to learn about?
Snack.
They enjoy carrion crawler. Is the one that they're big on. It's an Underdark delicacy. And you
What's
smack
the
them
least
for
favorite?
11.
It says least favorite.
Get to know favorite and least favorite. Oh, you get both from each time.
Yeah.
No, I think the way it works is you just get to pick favorite or least favorite of each.
That's not what that says.
It's not what it says, but I think that was their intent.
Yeah, we'll discuss.
It
We'll
was
leave it up to
supposed to be
jury.
like
For
an
now,
either
though,
or.
we'll also say that their least favorite snack, they don't like peaches. They're just not big into peaches.
Beans, they must die.
Yeah. Anything else on your turn, Nijel?
You know what? I'm gonna Hexblade's Cursor.
All right. Consider for Hexblade's Cursed. And that's going to then bring us in initiative to the Quaggoth, who's going to continue to attempt to break his bonds. And he rolls a 2. He's having a rough
Her
time
bonds.
with things. Their bonds. Her bonds. Yes, of course. I forgot she was a matriarch now. And that's all for the Quaggoth's turn. No, they're not restrained anymore, so they can walk over, and they're going to sink some deep teeth into this warrior for 19, and their teeth are now sunken in on this one as well. And that's going to bring us next in initiative to the Drow. There's 3 left. The Arachnomancer's terrified of you, Nijel, and as such, they are going to... they're going to try and...
Sweet psychic damage at the start of their turn.
Oh, why? Oh, that's
Because
just how the ability works.
Yep, and their movement is 0.
What... do they get to, like, take action still?
Yep, they can still take action, just can't move and take that damage at the start of their turn.
Alright, I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw, then.
Oh my. 17.
That is going to do it, just barely. And you watch as their eyes become this terrible kind of dark color as they stare at you. Looking still very frightened, but whatever kind of effect they were trying to put you under does not seem to take hold. The Priestess of Loth, who's still got those insects swarming about, is going to... they're going to look over at... they're going to look over at their buddy there, and they're going to actually cast Dispel Magic on the Arachnomancer, and get rid of the frighten effect that you have on it. On them. So that's all for their turn. And then the Elite Warrior, who's almost down, is just going to try and drag the Quaggoth out of here.
Isn't the Elite Warrior down? Do you mean the commander?
You're right, the commander. My mistake.
Okay.
And they're going to try and drag this guy out of here, which they're not very good at. That's a 13. Based on how the Quaggoth's rolling, that should be no problem. No, unfortunately, the Quaggoth is too strong, and as they're trying to pull him out, it's not quite enough. And that's all for their turn. The Drow are getting having it handed to them at the moment. As we move to, that's Sword. Coheir. What do you want to do, Sword?
The Alpha Quaggoth's on the ground, is
Yep.
or is she hanging in the air? Okay. I'm going to run up and use Cure Wounds.
Okay. That's 11 points of healing that you give to the Quaggoth.
plus
More of its
5.
wounds. Oh, so I'm sorry, I always forget. 16 points of healing, and it's getting more and more. It's getting better shape.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action to summon my spiritual weapon to attack the nearby dragon.
Oh, that's gonna hit.
Oh.
Going after the Arachnomancer?
Yes.
Alright, roll damage on that. It's going to be 16 points of force damage, which is enough to finish off the Arachnomancer. As it stabs in, the eye bite fades. A lot of their big spells not quite coming through for him here. As the spiritual weapon, the Sword of Sword Coheir, cuts through and leaves them on the ground. Anything else on your turn, Sword?
That's about all I can do.
That was good enough. Good enough turn. As we move next on to... it is Nijel. What do you want to do, Nijel? Quaggoth and the commander are before you.
Are the two casters...
One of the casters is down, the other caster's 30 feet away from you, and then the commander is right next to you.
So there are only two drow still up?
Yep.
Okay. Standing here by the commander, I will first... is any of the party within 10 feet of me?
Ideal is.
Ideal's a charismatic guy.
Sword is as well.
I'm moving near the alpha.
Yeah, and you're
I hope y'all are charismatic. Okay. So, we're gonna start this off right. Can I get a round of... Where is it? Why can I not find it now? There it is. A round of some sweet charisma saves from everyone within 10 feet of me.
Oh, yes. Everyone needs to make Ideal, Sword, and the Quaggoth need to make charisma saving throws. You did not give him a lot of that, so he's not super good at that.
Or
and
the commander.
The drow commander as well. Which, what is the DC on that?
Oh, he just succeeds the DC's 15.
Yep, he's good. As your dark wings flutter out behind you. Is there anything else on your turn, Nijel?
Indeed. Who's looking worse, the commander or the caster?
The commander. The caster hasn't really been touched.
Then I will go ahead and spiritual weapon the commander.
Alright, that's gonna hit. Roll damage. The commander's gotten hit by the Quaggoth quite a bit, so commander's not in great shape. Alright, so that's... Oh, Jesus. That's a total of 15 points of damage as you strike the commander for another large chunk. The commander's in even worse shape. Is that all for your turn?
I will have my spiritual weapon move 10 feet towards the caster.
Alright, Euchaunkas.
This is a particularly tall room, correct?
Yeah, the trees, they're as tall as the trees in the Will-O-Wood.
Very tall. Got it.
Yes.
Call lightning. Level 4. Whoa. On the priestess.
As you begin channeling the spell, you watch as within the room behind you, some of the kind of powers coming back on, and you see Farron. You see Farron kind of manipulating the controls, and you watch as a storm begins to brew overhead for your call lightning.
Good, Farron.
And he just throws you a thumbs up.
All right.
Which makes it do more damage, right?
Level 5, effectively.
Yeah, another D10 on top of that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
How much?
50.
Wait, isn't that 60 with the extra?
I cast it at level 4, which puts it to 40. So you are the storm.
Oh, okay. I thought it was baseline.
No, it's
okay,
baseline 30.
Yeah. So the lightning crashes down. Where are you targeting it?
Just right on what's her face, the priestess.
All right, she's gonna make a dex save, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna take a nice, cool 50. Is it 50 total?
Yeah.
All right, she's not downed in one hit, but she's looking like she's looking a bit like ashes at the moment. She's completely singed and torn apart, and her clothes are blackened. And she also looks very sad and angry.
He's your god now. Because this is my god. Anyway, Magic Cloud, get her.
Oh no! Roll damage. Another 12. Still not quite enough, unfortunately. But she's well below half. Is that all?
Does she keep concentration on the insect plague?
Oh, I mean, there's no one in it, but the answer is she she does not. She took a cool 50, and that was a DC 25 concentration.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's all for your turn?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good turn. As we move on to our dear friend, the Quaggoth, who's still trying to break out of these darn binds. And he does! The handcuffs snap. And he's going to whip around. And, well, he's going to finish off that. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and finish off that commander right in front of you. And then the claws are going to slide over at you, Nijel. That's an 18?
He can't reach me, I don't believe. Can he?
He's got 50 movement speed, Nijel.
He has 0 movement speed because he's afraid of me.
When does he get afraid of you?
Shroud.
My necrotic shroud.
Oh, just now.
Oh, I forgot to mention.
Where did you, I don't think you moved, did you?
He was 10 feet away from it.
Yeah, I'm 10 feet away from it, the commander, and sword and.
Right.
Yeah, he can reach you. He has 10 feet of reach, my dude. He's a large creature.
Oh shit. Okay, damn.
He's got you, dog. But the 18 still misses, right?
The 18 misses. The 21, unfortunately, does.
What 20? He has disadvantage on all his attacks.
Oh, that's true as well. He has disadvantage on that, so that's still a 21. All right, so you take 21 points of slashing damage. Does he make another save against that?
Nope. This one just lasts until the beginning of my next turn.
Okay. He's not in Wounded Fury range yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got skipped Ideal. Ideal, what would you like to do?
Okay, so I take it the Drow Priestess is not dead yet.
The Drow Priestess is not quite dead yet.
What about the one that was attacking the Quaggoth? Was that the same one?
The one that was attacking the Quaggoth is eviscerated in the Quaggoth's angry jaws.
So the one that I cursed is dead, so...
Yep.
So I need... Let's see. No, I cannot do that. Just be someone... Alright, and there's still the Blight Elemental, which...
Yep. Oh, I forgot to control that last turn when you didn't control it. You got out
right.
lucky on that one.
Alright, I'll try to control it, make sure it doesn't go wild.
Do it. You got it?
Alright, I am now going to... Can I still take an action and control this turn, or...?
You can you can control it and do a thing.
Alright. Then I'm going to have it attack the priestess.
Alright. She's going to make a con save.
Yep.
Which she'll succeed, so she'll take half damage from this.
Alright.
Oh, half of 39 is still... what does that come out to? Actually, 19. Yeah, she's still downed, which is very fortunate. She kind of falls downwards, and her insect plague as well is already gone. So she's down. All the Drow are defeated at this point. It's just the big old Quaggoth that's up.
Alright. That and the element.
Anything else on your turn, Ideal?
No.
Alright.
I mean, the priestess is down.
Yeah.
She's dead. She's a specter.
Yep, and then the Quaggoth goes, and then it would be all the Drow, but all the Drow are dead. And you watch as the other Quaggoth that are up at the top are kind of like looking in the space, and a lot of them just kind of like jump down and begin running out the big hole in the back of the wall where they came in. Now that they're all gone and out of the way. And that's their turn. They're just dash actioning with their 50 movement speed that you gave them out and just into the world.
I would like to point out that I sarcastic. Yeah.
And
given what the guy was acting, I could totally be taking it serious.
Okay. Jesus. All right, I think that brings us to Sword. Sword, just the Quaggoth remains. It's thrashing about and angry, and hurt. What do you want to do?
Have the other Quaggoth actually left the area? Or are they still in...
Oh no, they're fucking gone. They move so fast.
They only moved 100 feet. They had to get down first.
Yeah, they fly through trees like people,
nothing.
like birds. They're like birds in trees.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. I'm sure they got a contingency plan.
I mean, you could probably... I'm saying, like, there's just because they scattered after they went out through the hole, so you could get to, like, one of them if you wanted to.
But
no,
either way, they're gonna take over now.
It's just a lot of them.
Not only that, but they can multiply.
Yep. Yep, that's
So-
true.
6 will be 12.
This is a job for legend tier now.
Legendary boss battle.
The 9th Great Evil.
Okay,
Oh my
The horde of
what evils have we unleashed on the
instantly
world?
just a horde of instantly self-dividing super predators.
I imagine Bartholomew can fix it.
Maybe.
Okay.
What are you doing, Sword?
I'm going to use my bonus action to healing word her again.
All right, you've been like healing the hell out of this.
I'm seeing if I can calm her down, and hopefully I can. And then I'm going to use my action to attempt to calm her down.
All right, go ahead and make me a persuasion check with advantage, because you have been healing her for so long.
And that is going to be
yeah, I'll give you advantage on this one. It's 19.
woo!
And you watch as the Kuatoa, why did I say Kuatoa? I was just thinking about Kuatoa still. The Quaggoth, who's been thrashing and flailing about, just struck at Nijel, kind of slows their breathing and begins to come to a rest. You hear outside of the space, the chaos is still kind of ongoing, but for the moment, this Quaggoth seems subdued and allows you to kind of like treat her wounds as she's just there, kind of like calmed down and no longer in this this incredible rage at the drow that we're trying to kidnap. Is it on the Quaggoth?
One of the ones that got out.
Oh yeah. You're kind of running out the window. You don't have the extra benefit of the storm outside of the room, but you zip out and you.
Oh, I don't
you
leave.
conjure-
The storm just sort of smacks them.
Oh well, they're
Ring
outside.
on this son of a
They're
bitch
outside of
is
the room.
huge.
Can the cloud like fly out the room?
It's sort of in one place and is huge. Like it's enormous and just sort of targets things within like 300 feet of it or something.
I think like because you cast it in the space, I don't think it's in the whole lab. I think it's in the space, is what my thinking was.
Yeah, whatever. Then I don't bother. doing that.
Regardless, you can.
I
Like,
instead,
you're
I don't.
chasing down hunting after Quaggoth.
No, I'm not gonna hunt them. I won't
Okay.
even. I go up and use my wall shield to fill the hole.
All right, yeah, you cover up the hole, and you watch as Theron, who is working on kind of regaining control over his facility. All of a sudden, the Alpha Quaggoth before you becomes significantly smaller and smaller, and just kind of sinks down to a more manageable size. You watch as the muscles kind of pull in a little bit, and he kind of steps through the broken glass and kind of speaks to you. It just becomes very like happy and docile looking with a few more touches. And he goes, "All right, well, that didn't quite go the way I had planned it. This was sort of my first big one, and I might have gotten a little bit carried away."
Oh
It
well.
happens to us, don't worry.
I kind of was just taking everything you said and just putting it in without really thinking about the long-term implications, which is something I was specifically instructed not to do.
Yeah, the asexual
wasn't
reproduction was a really bad idea.
That was a bad one.
I can't believe
Perhaps-
I honestly thought that'd be
Perhaps we can amend it though by
It's a
giving.
little late for that.
this
I
one
mean,
the ability-
they've kind of escaped. And
In the distance elsewhere in DnDTime W.O.R.L.D.S facility, you just a big explosion and like a crackle of lightning as some major piece of equipment is destroyed.
Couldn't you
you-
make this one into a Quaggoth hunting super predator?
we really want to keep tempting fate?
Maybe.
All right, if that's what you
Probably
think.
not.
Maybe we could just make
no,
it where
I mean,
this one
I'm
has
already-
dominance over that.
No, I'm already fired.
Oh.
I'm already going to be maybe killed, so we're all in. And they go over and begin.
Whoa, no.
Do we still get paid?
Yes, I think so. Here, I'll pay you.
Yeah,
out of
this is
pocket.
not our fault.
And he goes over and hands each of you 300 Bartholomew
Look,
bucks. Each
Baron.
gain 2 points of experience.
Do you know how all of this works?
All the equipment here? Yes.
Do you think you could build it again?
No.
What if
I
you
mean-
were heavily supplied?
Maybe. Probably not.
Do you think you could make a kind of shittier version of it that would still kind of work?
Explosion elsewhere in the facility. Maybe a little bit.
Do you want to leave?
Yes.
All right, crawl into my mouth.
And he looks at you kind of skeptical. Hold on a second. I'm going to make this thing a Quaggoth hunter first. And he goes over and he just makes a couple of adjustments. And the Quaggoth all of a sudden gets like really muscular and lean. And you see the Quaggoth like walk over. It reaches over and just like grabs some like charcoal and berries on the ground and paints a couple lines under its eyes and like ties a bandana around its head and just darts away off into the facility, and goes, all right, maybe that cleared everything up, but I guess I'm getting into your mouth. I did also sign the NDA, just so you know.
Hey,
So,
you just can't talk to anyone else about it.
all right, let's go. And he hops into your mouth. And the DnDTime W.O.R.L.D.S facility, as you kind of scramble out, is being completely upturned. And shattered, as this will never, as it seems like it's being torn apart from the inside.
I look for a
We can just
random
blame it on the
scientist
drought.
and tell him, Farron died in the attack.
A
We'll
few
just
of
let the
those
blight
Quaggoth
elemental
carry
handle
his body away.
The
But
Blight
this is the
Elemental
Blight
is kind of within the chaos, I think, at this point. It's
Yeah.
part of the storm that's taking place inside this facility. People are running for their lives. You watch as the Quaggoth hunter in the distance.
Eradicating all the virtual.
Yeah, you see as in the distance the Quaggoth hunter literally tears in one of the alpha Quaggoths in half in one fell swoop. But there are like 50 of them now, it seems, inside the space. And you guys get out. And you close the rock behind you as you climb out of the facility. And it all just seems
I throw up Farron.
all right, Theron hops out onto the ground, and everything seems pretty calm. As soon as the rock closes, it's just absolute silence. And you guys wait there hesitantly for a moment to see if a swarm of Quaggoth come through. And nothing comes through.
Well,
Is there some failsafe in there that stopped it all?
Well,
You
I
don't
guess
know.
being underground, they really don't have all that many places to run and hide.
And you kind of walk into the shop, and Bartholomew goes, "Oh, how did it go?"
this is my new servant, Farron.
I don't know about servant. I don't agree.
Farron, who got you out alive?
Who has the power to make monsters?
Farron.
I look at him like and just,
You
I
forget you're
think I
talking
also
to him.
have the power to do that. Just different kind of monsters.
And Bartholomew goes, "All right, let's see. It was the Wilder. I was sort of paying attention a bit. It was the Wilder, yes."
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And he kind of puts his hands up and casts an illusion over the Wilderwood. And you can see all manner of very large beasts, and like dinosaurs and giant crocodiles and things that exist within the Wilderwood. As however they arrived there now, they seem to have appeared at their intended destination, and they are just absolutely tearing apart the ecosystem they're in.
Why did you do that? Look at Bartholomew.
Oh, I didn't do that. I don't know how they got there, but it seems that they're there now and they're terrifying.
Can you
Well, now we have to kill them all.
Well, I mean, given time, I don't know. You may
This
be
happens.
somewhere.
I'm sure this happens every time they introduce a new species
Not
into
a
the empire.
problem. See, that one's destroying a table right now.
I
and you
mean,
watch
that's
its sign
good.
as it's
But if
just
they get out of
destroying
control,
sides.
I'm gonna have to work with the grung.
I'm sure the Grung will have them corralled in a nice place. They're not super smart, it looks like.
That they're not.
See, those ones there are just forming a nice little community. I think it's a happy ending.
Yes, and the hunter should take care of the rest.
And with that, our adventure is concluded. And that's all for this. That's all for this one. You guys want to shop?
Sure.
Indeed.
All right. Well, what can I get for all of you, so long as you're here and got some fresh cash?
I suppose I'll take a run of the bag.
Go ahead and roll a D500.
D1000?
Sorry. I'm tired.
Hey, not
649.
bad.
All right. Let's take a look. You reach into the bag and your hand passes over first what appears to be a mace of some kind, and then what you end up going on is a ring. A ring? Where are we? As you pull it out, it's very solidly made, and it just has kind of like a big X emblazoned upon it. And Bartholomew thinks, yes, this is a ring of X-ray vision. It's a powerful item that you could attune to and then give you the power to see through solid matter. A very interesting piece. Of course, that has certain restrictions in the amount that you can see through and how frequently it can be used, but I feel that you will find a lot of useful. As he hands you over a ring of X-ray vision.
Thank you as always, Bartholomew.
All right, and not a problem, Michelle. Anyone else?
Sure. I'll pull from the bag.
D1000 for you, sir.
Had a lot of good luck. How could it go sour now?
Oh,
How could it go sour now?
All right. You reach into the bag and you find within you reach in the bag and you find within your hand passes over first what appears to be it appears to be some type of staff which you're interested in, but you aren't able to quite grab it, and then something very squishy beneath your hand. Definitely not the cloud, not for you. You end up on what looks like a very simple shirt, and as you remove it, Bartholomew speaks up. Oh, yes. Do you know math, Euchaunkas?
Yes.
Oh, good. You do have to know math in order to use this particular piece. This is math armor. It was math goblin forged. It grants you a +3 AC while you're wearing it against creatures that can't understand basic math. Things like that Quaggoth there. And it is simply a cloth shirt made of arithmetic.
All right.
It's math armor. It's been in there for an extremely long time. I think that was item like 3 that I put in here.
Wow.
First edition.
First
Wait,
edition.
can I just wear this over what I'm wearing?
I think it would be armor. So it'd be like if you were a wizard, you could just toss that on as like a shirt.
Ah.
So you couldn't
not-
just like, I don't think it stacks with armor. That sounds ridiculous.
Hmm.
But it's very good on someone who doesn't necessarily have powerful armor.
Yes.
Very good. You've gotten the math armor. And then anyone else?
Am I currently at 4,600, and along with the 300 from this game, or am I still 300 short?
Jeremy, do you have that info?
Sword, Coheir, your current sum of money is 4,600, including this game.
Okay.
Your
So
efforts.
I'm gonna have to wait until next week.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
We're
I'm
getting
getting
there.
there. I'm getting there.
All right.
Exciting.
You hold. And anyone else? Ideal, you want to buy something?
No, not this week.
Very good. In that case, thank you all very much for playing in this. It's one of the stranger ones I've ever run. And Jeremy, shall we to the outro screen?
Pete, I'm not muted. Excellent. Pete, we